Hey there, adventurers! Welcome back to another episode of the Awkward Dungeon Master. This week, we are going to talk about dice superstitions. So, I picked up this set of dice at the Burrow recently. They are Borealis, Teal, and Gold. And I thought it'd be fun to open them with you guys, but I didn't want to just do an unboxing of dice and you can see them through the clear plastic box. So that's kind of silly. But they're shiny and I wanted them. And who doesn't love dice? So they're so pretty. But first of all, let's do all of them together. Oh no! That's never a good sign. So, we're talking about dice superstitions. This D20 just rolled a natural 1. It's the first time I've ever rolled it. Yeah. Is that an air bubble? No, doesn't look like it. Just poor luck. So, I've mentioned this before, we all have dice superstitions. Most people get really excited about their first die roll. If you've ever been around other gamers, it's kind of an unspoken rule that when someone else gets new dice, they get to roll them first before anyone else, which seems like a no-brainer. But I just think it's funny how many different types of dice superstitions there are out there. You'll see a lot of people that I'm going to bring up Critical Role for a second just because there is a notorious dice dragon on there, Laura Bailey. I love Laura Bailey so much, but that woman has more dice superstitions than anyone else I have ever seen on the face of this planet. So when her dice roll a natural 1, she throws them away and she will never use them again. That's pretty intense. And then I've seen other people that, they'll set their dice down with the 20 up to charge them. It's like, if I leave all my dice with the highest number up, then it will charge that number and it'll be more likely in my mind to roll that number. It's not true. It just makes us feel better. But it's a thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm guilty of doing the D20 up on my D20s pretty frequently when they're not behaving themselves, as some of us like to say. I do frequently put dice in dice jail. So you will hear people talk about dice jail. Laura Bailey has a dice jail for her dice that roll natural 1s while she's playing on the show. She's just got so much fame. She's yeah, like that, overexcited. I would have laughed so hard if that had been a natural 20. Oh man. But then I have another friend who he only ever uses like 2 sets of dice at a time, and the last couple times that we've played, his dice have rolled really, really poorly. So I've offered him to borrow some of my dice, but he won't do it, and he finally explained to me why. He said, well, I just feel like if I betray my dice like that and replace them, that they'll never roll good for me again. What? I mean, gamers are an interesting lot. I have lucky dice. I think everyone has lucky dice. This is my little container for them. And it's not just D20s in here either. Like, I have a pair of lucky D6s and a pair of lucky D12s and 3 D8s that roll really well for me for some reason. I've balanced some of them. There's nothing wrong with them. They balance just fine. Maybe we'll do a video on how to balance your dice here at some point. It's really not that hard. Ooh. And then I had another guy that I was playing with on Wednesday nights who, he said one of his D20s, that usually did really well for him, was not rolling well one night, so he finally got frustrated and he shoved it all the way down to the bottom of his dice bag, and he said he left it there for a week and a half. And the next time he pulled the die out, it rolled more natural 1s than he's ever had it roll before. And he was just convinced that dice was mad at him and was getting back at him for abandoning it in the bottom of his dice bag. I have a couple of friends who play with me on Thursday nights who buy dice for the character that they're playing that night. So they have separate sets of dice for different characters that they're playing, and they kind of buy them in a sort of theme. So, like, one of them's playing a ranger, so she buys her a lot of green dice, or ones that remind her of nature in some way. And I know a lot of people who will do that. Like, they roll up a new character, and then they go to the dice store, whichever, wherever they go to get dice, whether that be the internet or your local game store or whatever, and they pick a special set of dice that they feel like resonates with that character. And then those dice are earmarked for that character, which, honestly, pretty fun. I've never done that. Maybe I should try it one of these days. I love gamers so much. We're an interesting and eclectic lot. Another thing that I have heard people say to me frequently, I'm very fidgety when I play D&D, so, in between my turns, I will sit there and kind of just roll a die. I'll try to be quiet about it, because sometimes it irritates people. If it doesn't, I'll usually stop. Or I like to make dice towers, I do that too. But I'll be rolling, and I'll get a natural 20, I'll roll a couple high numbers like 18, 16, whatever, and somebody next to me will be watching me do this while I'm fidgeting with my dice, and then they'll go, dude, stop doing that, you just wasted a natural 20, like the die will never roll a natural 20 again. And you'll also hear people say that whenever they roll for a silly check, something that doesn't really matter all that much. They'll be like, I want to find a stick. And they roll an investigation check, and they roll a natural 20. I'm like, you found the best stick that you could possibly find in this environment. And they'll be like, damn it, why did I waste a natural 20 on looking for a stick? Like, you could have predicted that. It's fine, it's not wasted. You accomplished your goal. Hooray you! But that's the way people look at it. I'm like, motherfucker, if I had rolled that during combat, it would have been critical damage. But I wasted it on a stick. Dice Superstitions. They never cease to entertain me. Like, I know that they're not... Oh god, someone's gonna murder me in comments if I say that they're not real. I realize that everyone has different dice superstitions, and they probably don't affect much, but they're still fun. And even so, we all seem to have them to some degree or another, and I regret nothing. Well, there you have it, you guys. There is my take on dice superstitions and a few of the dice superstitions that I have encountered in my years of playing D&D so far. Hopefully you enjoyed this, even though it was a bit silly. And until next time, keep it rolling, adventurers.